In 1979, 1,700 people were murdered in New York City, and a group of men decided to do something about it. They rode the subway, and they called themselves the Guardian Angels. With no pay, no authority, and no weapons, they decided to jump on the train and get punched in the face for the benefit of strangers, and they did it all wearing a funny little red hat. I think the hat is a lot more important than people give it credit for, because what it really is a symbol. It is an identity wrapped up in a visual object that lets people be identified as a group and a community and a participant in something bigger than themselves, which is something that quite a few people are craving right now. When Curtis Sliwa and the Guardian Angels put on the red hat, they became something bigger than themselves. It was a symbol of an identity that they wanted to live up to and that they could perform in the world and live up to those ideals with. Everyone that you know and that I know and online is talking about how it's really hard to find community right now. And a large part of that is because there's a lack of shared ideal. People put together these run club groups and these cold plunge groups, and they do an activity together. The activity is a shared joy, not a shared belief system. And so there's no core connection between them. People show up to the group and they expect that they will be told what to believe. They will assume the shape of the group. They'll assume the beliefs. They'll assume the structure of what it takes to fit in. But very few people come to the group with a defined set of characteristics that they already know that they believe in. Instead of being a character, they're just assimilated into a mass that generalizes to where it establishes a baseline for everybody that actually fits nobody. If you're writing for everybody, you're writing for nobody because you've established only the average that is mildly acceptable to everyone and true for nobody. And so let's take for a basic example, two humans that want to connect. They're standing in front of each other, but neither one of them knows who they are. And intrinsically, they either have to be defined by the activity that they're doing or defined by each other. Neither one of them is coming to the table with anything to offer, and so they're waiting for the other person to bring food. And if neither one of them can do that, they both starve. Your food here is your belief system, your characters, and your perspective on how you see the world. And the best thing you can do if you want to start connecting with people is to define that, to put it down in words, and more importantly, to give it a symbol. Because a symbol is really just an idea that is very hard to encapsulate, and so you've given it a shorthand. A symbol is a shorthand for a big idea. Curtis Sliwa and his Guardian Angels had a red hat because what it made them was a readily identifiable set of characteristics. It defined them as a person. Symbolism doesn't always have to be external. You can have internal symbols, things that define big concepts to you in bite-sized chunks, more than anything, just so that you can readily access those large ideas. You have to put some thought into them, though. You have to be able to define who you are so that nobody else gets to define who you are for you. It's not an easy process, but it is a simple process, and I'll tell you exactly how I did it. So this is GodMaker. GodMaker was born from a conversation with one of my best friends. He's a phenomenal man, he's a doctor, and he has a very strong Christian practice. And he was explaining to me how, from his point of view, it's not necessarily always about believing in the miracles and necessarily that all of everything that's in the Bible is true, but what Christ is an embodiment of characteristics that people want to live up to. They want to walk in the footsteps of Christ by emulating the kind of person that he was. And I thought, I want that too. I want a set of characteristics that I can just firmly believe in, that are written down and that I can adhere to in order to be the best version of myself, a version of me that I respect. And so what I did is I took these dolls. Now these are kachina dolls. Kachina dolls are very important to Native American populations, and my family used to sell them back in New Mexico. And so what I've done is adapted them into a symbol. And I wrote down every single characteristic that I wanted to embody, and then I attributed each of these dolls into one of those specific characteristics. And I wrote it a story, I gave it a name, and I assembled my own pantheon of values, a series of beliefs that I want to aspire to that are shorthand captured by these symbols. And what this gave me is an unshakable truth. It gave me something to have when nothing else made sense, and it gave me a sense of the kind of person that I could be if I was living my absolute best life. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Now, in moments of crisis, I just ask myself, what would Sokitli say? Or what would Marafado say? And this is not a system of creation. It's not like I believe these kachina dolls are responsible for my own being, but what I am saying is that I have created a pantheon of beliefs that are just symbols and stories in their modern day Aesop's fables that are individually tied to me and what I want to be. It's very important because life is full of could have been, would have been, should have been types of people who never reach the potential because they hold themselves back, sometimes just because they haven't defined it. And so it gets really important to just write these things down, say them so you can embody them. You can't draw a map if you don't know where the boundaries are. Write down the person you want to be and then be that person. You don't have to one-shot this. This can develop over time. You write some things down, you stare at them, you feel them out, you see if there's anything else that pops up in the world that reminds you of something you forgot, and then you change it. You alter it until it feels good to you, and then you can go into any situation, and you never have to derive personality from somebody else. You can walk into a situation and be firmly rooted in the kind of person that you want to be, and that gives other people the clarity and the permission to do the same. They know who you are, and so they can be something in relation to you. And once they know that this is the most genuine version of you, they can be the most genuine version of themselves, and that's where true connection is going to come from. You're not going to be able to find an average when there's no definition of each other. If you're finding the average of X and Y, but X and Y are undefined, you're never going to get to a number. You have to be something before anybody can be something in relation to you. And it doesn't have to be anything like this. It could be your favorite movie characters. It could be your favorite comic book heroes. Just something that embodies something for you that you can then look up to. And you're going to fail, and that's okay, because the best thing about it is that the symbol doesn't change. You can fail, but you're walking in the path of the symbol, and the symbol is not going to be altered. The symbol just represents an idea. It's something that is a guiding light for you to walk towards. It's not necessarily a measurement of how well you're doing in every instance. It's just a directional point that you're pivoting your life towards, because it's going to be better if you're moving in that direction. You can fail your values, but your values don't move. The most beautiful thing about all this is that once you start to define yourself, other people begin to understand you, and the people who understand you and appreciate it and connect with it will radiate towards you on their own without you having to do a dance of anticipating the other person so that you can mold yourself in order to be whatever is going to be relatable to them. They will find you. If you start to define your ideas and then you start to live by them, you become what those ideas are. You are that person now. If you believe in honesty and you act in an honest way, you are an honest person. But you can't be found by your people if you're standing there not being defined at all. You are allowed to decide what you stand for. Nobody's going to walk up to you and give you a spec sheet that dictates that you are an honest, kind, giving, fun-loving person. Go out there, define what it is, and then live it, embody it. If you feel like you're missing connection, then give people something to connect to. Go out there, write it down, define it, and then live by it. So name it, draw it, put it somewhere where you can see it, and then go live a life that's worthy of it. You can do this. I believe in you. If you're interested in all in reading GodMaker, the link is below. You can download it for free. It doesn't cost you anything. There's also other books about communication and how to define your goals and then achieve them. And I'm still a very small channel. So if this captures you at all, or you resonate, or you want any sort of conversation about it, reach out to me. I will hear you and I will write back. I'm looking forward to it.